Well, hello boys and girls. Hopefully everybody is doing great. Tonight I will be working on the old Mountaineer. Got a little bit of an oil issue. Sometimes when I come up to a light, when it's warm, the oil light blinks. And I've had this persistent leak down here on the passenger side, actually the driver's side of the engine. There's a little thing called an oil filter adapter plate that goes down there. And mine is leaking. It's been leaking for quite a while. It's getting worse. And there are times when I start the vehicle after it sets for a while, you can hear the timing chain guides and a little bit of valve train noise where the oil pressure, it's losing oil pressure, and the tensioners on those chains are losing oil pressure because this gasket is leaking. It's losing a little bit of oil pressure, and I'm going to show you down here on the bottom where it's been leaking. Bear with me a second while I grab my light. Okay, and there's the oil that's been dripping down off of the oil filter, and you can see back there it's running up behind that oil filter. There's a plate. I don't know how well you can see that, but I'm going to disassemble it here in a little bit, and I'll give you a better view. It's been leaking for quite a while, and you can see all the oil that's been gotten splashed back off of the frame and stuff. And I just pulled it in here. My floor is pretty clean right now, but if I would leave this set, it would probably be half a quart of oil here in about 2 or 3 days laying on the floor. But this is what I'm going to do tonight. And let me see if I can give you a better look in here. If I can zoom in a little bit. That plate is right there. Now, I've gone ahead and started disassembling some of the things on the engine. Let me get back up here real quick. I don't know if I have my steady shot on or not. Hopefully I'll try not to move the camera around as much as I normally do. On the top, I've decided to go ahead and take off a few things. You don't have to do this, but it will make it easier just to get in here, get into the oil filter to take it off, and just gives you a little better access. Now what I've done, taken off the fan, the plastic shroud. Those are just two 10mm bolts that go up on the top. One goes on the top over here, and on that side over there, and on the bottom. And there is one of the bolts laying there. They're not very big bolts, 10mm. And on the bottom, there are two. Right there they are. And they actually go up there. One goes there, and one goes over there. So you take that off. Oh, by the way, you're probably wondering how I've got my fan off, since you have to take a special tool to get it off. I have a special made tool that I made years ago, and it works pretty good. This is how I get my fan off. This is a left threaded fan. Let me grab the fan. When you go to take this fan off, it spins counterclockwise, meaning this way, not that way, but this way. This is how it comes off. And I usually just take my tool and put it on the nut down there, and take a little pry bar and put behind the water pump pulley and just kind of snug it and break it loose. It usually comes loose pretty easy. They do make a special tool that you can rent and take that off. Just so you know, I've had that off several times, so it's pretty easy to take off. And I did all that from up here. And I do have my Mountaineer up on some ramps, so it'll make it a little bit easier. Alright, now, since I've done that, I got all the plastic and shroud off. I took my hose off, the upper hose. Kind of got it off to the side. And I've got my overflow tube. Pushed it out of the way, and there's a little AC line here you got to kind of move out of the way. And don't forget your... there is a... Let me see if I can find it on top of the radiator. This little thing sets up here. Your AC line sits on top of the radiator. This is like a little insulation piece. I kind of leave it off to the side. You need that because it keeps the heat from the air conditioning line when you're running the air conditioner. Okay. Now I've got all that plastic off. The last thing I did, well, not really the last thing, but it's one of the things that makes it a little easier to get into. I've drained the fluid, the antifreeze out. I put a tube on the little drain there to drain the fluid, the antifreeze out. I just didn't want it to splash all over the place. It just makes it a little bit easier. And to open that up, you see that little plastic right there, that little nut. Let me see if I can hold the light. And you just turn this, back it off, and this is how you drain the water out. It's pretty much drained out. All I've got to do now, let me get back on top. I'm getting my workout tonight. Now what I'm going to do next is go ahead and unscrew the oil filter, take that off, and there is a lower hose that bolts onto that, that's clamped onto that housing down there. I'm going to go ahead and set the camera down because I'm not going to be able to record. I'm going to take the oil filter off. I'm going to go ahead and take that bottom hose off the radiator. Now it goes up onto that housing. Once I get that off, there's a wire there for your oil sensor for your light. Then I can take those 3 bolts off and take that adapter off. Now I will record here in a few minutes once I'm under there how I'm going to get that off and everything. But right now I can't do much being up on top. So let me go ahead and do that, and we'll go ahead and get this adapter plate off. Oh yeah, and before I get too much further, when I took this bottom piece off for the shroud, there is a little plastic reinforcing piece that goes around this hose right there. And actually there it is. Oops, let me hold my light there. You have to kind of pull it out. It's a little snap. It goes into the plastic at the bottom of the shroud. You just kind of take a screwdriver and pop it off. And I pulled the shroud up through the top. You turn it sideways, get this side going, then it'll go up. You kind of got to work your way up. You can probably pull down on it and get it out, but if you're not up very high, you're probably not going to be able to get it out. But it's easier just to take it up. That way you won't have to worry about breaking anything. But it does. I did pull it down, just so you know. Okay, I think that's it. Now I'll go ahead and we'll take this oil filter off, and we'll go ahead and see if I can get that hose and start getting some bolts out of that separator plate. Okay, I got the oil filter off. It's down here on the floor laying. Of course my light is on top. Let me grab my light real quick. Thought I had the light there. But there's the oil filter. I got it off. Now, the next step, what I did next, I fiddled around until I got this wire off right there. If you can see, right there on that housing. Is that it? There it is. Let me zoom in. That is the oil pressure switch. I stuck my hand on the bottom of the front gear. I have kind of big hands, but I was able enough to get enough room for my hands to slid up there. And there's a little tab on the back of this that you have to push in on. There it is. I know it's kind of hard to hold the light and show you at the same time. Let me set the light down. Right there, that little tab. And that's how that pulls off. It takes a little while, but if you fiddle around with it, you can get it. You don't want to break it. Now, I started freaking out. After I got that off, I thought, well, great, there's my bolts. I should be able to get this, but I forgot. I got to still take the hose off for the radiator, the bottom one, and it's right there. I'm thinking, how in God's name am I going to get that off? Well, let me go back on top. I'm able to get it. Oh, I'm getting too old for this. Up and down, up and down. I'm able to get it through the firewall on the driver's side. On this side, I didn't know if I would have to take the wheel off. I could have, but it would have been just more work. But turns out I can get it this way. I'm going to take a long set of pliers that I got, stick in there and get it, and clamp that. And I should be able to grab that. There is a little piece right here I popped off. It's just the dust cover. Moisture keeps water from flying in the engine compartment. You just kind of drop this down with these little plastic tabs, and you can get that off. And by the way, if you have to do any work in your wheel well, make sure you put all the plastic back in, because I was in a blizzard of 2016 over in Maryland, and I had all kind of ice and snow blowing up in my engine. After about 2 hours driving, started getting missing in the engine and stuff. I had water on top of the engine and snow melting, shorting out my plug wires, so it's very important that you put all this plastic back in. Just so you know. But anyway, there's my oil filter. there where that screws on, that adapter plate is right there. I'm going to go ahead and take that hose off. And I should be able to go ahead and take those bolts out of that adapter plate. So this may not be much of a job after all. Just more or less fiddling with little things getting into the plate. Alright, let me go ahead and take this off and we'll see what we got here. Okay, a little change of plans. I've got 3 of the bolts out. I could not get that hose off there. I just don't have enough room to get in there to get pliers to grip those. That clamp should be pointing down that way so you can get it from the front of the engine so you can release it. Someone's got it on there backwards, so I'm going to just go ahead and take the whole unit off with that hose on it. I got 3 of the bolts off. They weren't too bad on the bottom. I used an extension. They're 13 by the way, and they're all the same length. I got one on this side. Let's see if you can see. One's right there. Hold still camera. Right there's one. And the other one, the other 2, well, actually the other other 2 are back here. One goes, if I can, right there is the other one, and the other one is right above it. Up above that sensor, it's right there. I only have one left. The one I'm working on now, which was a little bit of a bitch to get, excuse my French, is up here, and I'm using an extension on it. It's kind of hidden, so I'm going to show you where it's at. It took me a while to figure out what it was. I'm going to have to do this kind of precisely. Let's see. Where am I here on my camera? That bolt, hidden bolt, is right there. If you can see that. Camera zoom in. It's right there. That's where that one. That's what I'm taking out now. I'm using an extension and I'm kind of getting at it from this side. And if I back out, you'll see in relative where it is to the oil filter where it screws in. It's kind of hidden up behind there. So I'm going to take that one out. And we'll go ahead and drop this whole unit off. And all I have to do is unhook the clamp to the hose on the bottom of the radiator, which is right there, and this will be off. So let me go ahead and do that. Okay, there it is. I wiggled it out. Just one note: when you go to take this bottom hose off on the bottom of the radiator, you got to watch. It could be a little bit of antifreeze in there. Mine was pretty well drained. I got just a little bit, but you got to make sure your antifreeze is drained completely out. If you don't, you will get a nice bath. Zoom in. Okay. Alright, and one other quick little note. If you can get this hose off before you take the unit off, it will make it easier to get into these bolts. This hose was actually in my way with the ratchet in order to take some of these bolts out. And like I said, the one that was hidden on me was right there. Those 2. You may have to clean some of the dirt off because that dirt does, the grease does hide those bolts in there. And it should be good to go. So go ahead and start cleaning up here. But there here's where my leak was. It was leaking right there. This is the water jacket there, and this is your oil return and pressure. My gasket was leaking right there. Let me hold the light and hold this gasket up to give you a better look. And it's pretty well shut. You can see it was leaking there, a lot of oil on the inside. And there is my new one right there. And if you notice the new one, it's still in the package. It has a rubber seal that goes around, and it's actually raised a little bit. Kind of hard to see through the plastic. The one I just took off on mine, if you look at it closely, that seal is flat as a pancake. That's why it was leaking. So that's what you got to do to take this apart. Just make sure when you put it back together, when you put this hose back on, make sure this clamp is actually facing forward. That way you can get into it if you ever have to change this bottom hose. But I don't know why in God's name someone flipped that clamp around. And inspect your housing, make sure it's okay. And there is your switch. And it looks like it's okay. I'm going to take that little plastic thing out of the middle there. Just don't break that. And I should be good. Go ahead and clean this up. Stick it back on tonight. So I'm not going to make a video on how to put it together. I understand why now I could not find any videos on how to do this on a Mountaineer and a 302 or the 4.6. This motor is a 4.6, by the way. I can understand why no one's done a video of it, because it's kind of a bitch to get to. That's how I did mine. If you want, you can probably take the wheel off and maybe get in there a little bit easier. It probably would make it a little bit easier if you got the means to take the wheel off and jack it up. But that's it. I'm going to put this back together, get a new oil filter, put oil in it, and go from there. So everyone, thanks for watching. And be careful if you're working on your vehicles. Make sure they're jacked up properly. And I got blocks behind my back wheel back there and all that good stuff. So that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching, and be safe, everybody, and take care. I'll try to answer any questions or any comments that I may get, but I have so much video stuff on here now it's hard to keep up with. So take care, everybody, and thanks for watching.